Hello there and welcome to the Finnish countryside. If you haven't been here before, my name is Erta and in July 22 we moved from Austria to the southwest coast of Finland. And this year we managed to fulfill our dream and found our place here in the countryside, which is located a bit more further up north in central Finland. However, we came here in June, so we really didn't have time to start planting anything bigger anymore. Plus, we had like tons of other more important things to do. However, we have managed to harvest something already this year. And in this video, I'm gonna show you what. As we were searching for a place in the countryside in Finland, we found many places where there were already many apple trees or berry bushes or something like that. Other stuff to eat, especially places with many big fruit trees, apple trees were like really impressive because those things need a lot of time to grow. And as we then were thinking about buying this place, it was a huge minus point that here wasn't that many eatable stuff growing. But here is. We have been quite surprised how many things here grow and how delicious some of them are. I'll show you first what we planted and how it went, because like I said in June, I have no idea about anything. And that's why I started with some very simple stuff, meaning peas and carrots. And those things worked really well. I highly recommend those for all of you who is maybe starting gardening. I had both here in the potager, in the stone garden, because these were already empty at that time, just very small spaces, but still. I left a lot of the space for the peas, but clearly not enough because they are all tanked together. I think next year I'm not gonna put them like that anymore, but only one row, so that they are also easy to collect and they definitely have enough space. But there were so many of them and we were just eating them mostly just raw from the bush, and they were really delicious. For a beginner, the peas get definitely 5 points of 5. So the peas were here. It's already a bit, Stefan has already started to build it a bit another way, the stone garden. That's why it looks a bit weird. However, the carrots were there in the hedge. Like I told you in one video, I put there way too many seeds because I didn't read it that well, and I was just like, oh, it was so small, the seeds. But now I know it, and next year we will hopefully have more carrots. But nevertheless, we have been able to harvest quite a many carrots since a couple of weeks. Every time when I'm cooking something with carrots, I always pick them just from the garden. For my own stupidity, I'll give a minus point, but otherwise they were also very simple and not demanding at all, and taste now very good, so definitely 5 points of 5. And if you have chickens, apparently they really like the carrot leaves when you dry them and keep them in the winter. So I have been testing it, so in the winter we will see if our chickens like them also. And otherwise we didn't plant anything except some strawberries, which I bought from the minus 50% sale box, but we have been just eating them right from the bushes because there are not that many of them, but sometimes kids did collect a whole cup of them at once, but yeah, there are not that many. And then we had those plants which I bought from my niece as she was selling plants for collecting money for a class trip. A hanging cherry tomato, which has been giving lots of tomatoes the whole summer through and still is, but I think not for its 25-year worth. But it was a pretty thin and easy to care, although I had to water it sometimes 3 times a day. Anyhow, okay, so hanging cherry tomatoes, I would say 3.5 because they were quite easy, yes, but they really didn't bring that much as I expected for this price. So I think that was everything what we have bought or planted, and now let's see which things we have found here on the block, because like I said, as we came we thought here isn't that much, only this decoration apple tree, which apples you cannot eat, but it came out that there is also a real apple tree which has apparently just bred and grown itself by himself. The apples are not very sweet, but I like the taste, and Stefan just made an Austrian dish, Apfelradl, from them, and it was delicious. So definitely also 5 points of 5 for this surprising apple tree. And then next to this these apple trees is this bush or whatsoever, which turned then out to be Saskatoon, which is very delicious and a very healthy berry. Some people say it tastes a bit like a blueberry, but the berries look also a bit like blueberries. But for me, there's a quite strong taste of amaretto there. We actually didn't know that this is a Saskatoon. That's why we got a bit surprised as the berries bumped out, and then we didn't really knew what to do with it. And then next moment we noticed that the birds were eating very many of them. So I think next year we have to be a bit quicker, because the berries can also be freezed and used for many things. However, I would say 3 of 5 points for this one. The next surprise waited us here. This one. It's aronia or chokeberry or chokecherry. It's also raw, unbelievably healthy, but they are very sour, and boiling them of course reduces the health impacts. But still, Stefan made a jam of them and it's so delicious. So even though this self-made jam may not be that healthy as the raw berries would be, it's definitely at least cheaper than if I would buy one. There are so many berries in this aronia bush, which, like the Saskatoon, you can use for very many things. So definitely a 5 points of 5 for this one. And then this one we knew but we didn't knew how many berries there are gonna be and how unbelievably healthy this one is. Let me introduce sea buckthorn, tyrni in Finnish. It's the most healthiest berry here in the north, and it really likes also these Nordic living conditions. It's really resistant for about everything, but the taste is once again a bit, in German you would say gewöhnungsbedürftig. You really need to get used to the taste, at least raw. But from these you can also make many things. Stefan already made jam, and I think we could eat them just so pure, also in the breakfast porridge. And our chickens get them also. They like them a lot. Yeah, I think for the next year I have to look some more recipes for what we can use them, because there are so many of them. However, already this year I definitely give 5 points of 5 for this sea buckthorn, because I really didn't even know that this kind of things exist. And then here is this wasteland, which has been wasteland, I don't know, for years or maybe forever. No idea. However, here were some things which made us very happy. Berry bushes. I was quite sad as we decided to buy this place, and because here were nowhere berries to see. But luckily, here are very many black currant bushes, which you can use for quite many things, like also for the porridge, or as a jam, or as a juice, or for a cake, or whatsoever. And there were not only black currants, but also gooseberries, which are also very delicious. I also like this pizza a lot. Oh, and here someone found also a rhubarb. It was actually quite a living soul, but we didn't really need it because we have so much of it in the garden. So this one I forgot to show you. This is the rhubarb. It's huge, and I already harvested it in June, like tons of it, but there was just so much. But I also think that it's nice to have some of it in the freezer, because I have never eaten a rhubarb pie in the middle of winter. If it's nice to taste some summer in the middle of winter, let's see. So, I think we are ready now. I hope at least that I showed you everything what we have found here. It maybe we find next year more stuff, I don't know yet. But oh, and eggs, of course, we are getting now everyday eggs, but it does get less in the winter time, as the chickens are not laying that many or eggs at all. However, just watching the chickens is so nice that it doesn't matter that much. If someone has some nice recipes, or maybe you saw something something growing somewhere which we haven't noticed, then please write me a comment. And otherwise, yeah, like you see, it's middle of September and it's still so warm and so pretty. I don't know, is it just this year or is it always like this? However, we are enjoying it because tomorrow it should get really cold and uncomfortable. However, yeah, this was the oat field, and now it's also harvested. And next year, let's see what's growing in the earth next year, because then we are doing it by ourselves. However, I hope everyone a nice weekend, and we'll see us in the next video. Bye bye!